ever walked into a room, met someone new, or experienced a moment and felt an uncanny certainty that it has all happened before? Not in a dream, not a vague memory, but with a vivid, almost disorienting sense of replay? That peculiar, fleeting sensation is what we call déjà vu, French for already seen. It's a phenomenon that has puzzled philosophers, fascinated scientists, and intrigued countless individuals throughout history. For centuries, it was relegated to the realm of the mystical, often attributed to past lives, precognition, or even glitches in the matrix. But today, thanks to advances in neuroscience and psychology, we're beginning to unravel the scientific underpinnings of this startling experience. It's more common than you might think, with studies suggesting that as many as 2/3 of healthy individuals experience it at some point in their lives, particularly young adults. But what exactly is happening inside our brains when we encounter this familiar stranger? Is it a trick of memory, a momentary hiccup in our perception, or something far more complex? Join us as we dive deep into the enigmatic world of déjà vu, exploring the leading scientific theories, the astonishing brain activity involved, and why this seemingly trivial sensation offers profound insights into the very nature of human consciousness and memory. Get ready to have your perceptions challenged, and perhaps to feel a little déjà vu yourself. The Memory Misfire Theory, a glitch in the matrix of recall. One of the most prominent scientific explanations for déjà vu centers around the idea of a memory misfire. Imagine your brain as an intricate filing system, constantly processing new information and storing it away. Under normal circumstances, new experiences are neatly categorized and indexed. However, proponents of this theory suggest that déjà vu occurs when there's a momentary glitch in this process. Specifically, it's believed that a new experience might be registered in our short-term memory and then, almost simultaneously, incorrectly flagged as a long-term memory. It's like your brain is filing a brand new document, but accidentally places it in the already seen folder. This near instantaneous duplication or miscategorization creates the bizarre sensation of familiarity, even though the event is genuinely novel. The brain receives sensory input, and almost immediately, a signal from the memory retrieval system fires, indicating recognition. But because the event is truly new, there's a conflict between the sensory data and the memory signal, leading to the disorienting feeling of having seen this before, without being able to pinpoint when or where. This theory is supported by the fact that déjà vu is often reported in situations where our attention might be divided or our brains are under a mild cognitive load, making such subtle processing errors more likely. It's not a premonition, but rather a temporary hiccup in the sophisticated machinery of our memory system, a fleeting illusion that tricks us into believing we're re-experiencing the present. Dual processing, the brain's asynchronous arrival. Another compelling theory that attempts to demystify déjà vu involves the concept of dual processing or asynchronous arrival of sensory information in the brain. Our brains are incredibly complex processing units, constantly receiving vast amounts of data from our senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. This theory proposes that under certain circumstances, different streams of sensory information from a single event might arrive at the conscious awareness slightly out of sync. For instance, the visual input of a scene might reach your consciousness a fraction of a second before the auditory input or the spatial awareness. Although the delay is minuscule, perhaps mere milliseconds, it's enough to create a peculiar effect. When the second, slightly delayed stream of information finally catches up, the brain interprets it as a new input, but because a very similar, almost identical stream of information has just been processed, it triggers the feeling of familiarity. It's as if you're hearing an echo of an event that just happened, but your brain misinterprets the echo as a distinct prior event. This subtle timing discrepancy tricks the brain into believing it's re-experiencing something, even though it's all part of the same continuous moment. Think of it like a brief, almost imperceptible lag in a video game. The action unfolds, but then momentarily appears to re-render itself, creating a sense of repetition. This dual processing model highlights the incredible precision required for our brains to seamlessly construct our perception of reality, and how even the slightest deviation can lead to such a profound and disorienting subjective experience. The rhinal cortex and familiarity, a neural snapshot. Delving deeper into the neurobiology of déjà vu, many researchers point to the crucial role of the rhinal cortex, a region located in the medial temporal lobe of the brain. This area is known to be critical for processing familiarity, independent of detailed episodic recall. Unlike the hippocampus, which is involved in forming and retrieving specific detailed memories of events, what, where, and when, the rhinal cortex appears to be more responsible for simply recognizing something as familiar, without necessarily remembering the context of its first encounter. The theory here is that déjà vu might occur when the rhinal cortex is activated and signals a strong sense of familiarity for a novel situation, even though the hippocampus has not yet registered a complete, detailed memory of it. It's like your brain gets a familiarity signal before it has a chance to form a full, conscious memory. This can happen due to a momentary neural fluctuation or an accidental firing of neurons in the rhinal cortex. So, you experience the feeling of familiarity without the accompanying details that would make it a genuine memory recall. This disconnect creates the perplexing sensation of déjà vu. You know you've experienced this before, but you can't quite place it. Research on patients with temporal lobe epilepsy, who often experience déjà vu as part of their seizures, provides further support for the involvement of this region. The epileptic activity in the temporal lobe can trigger these false familiarity signals, offering a clinical window into the neural mechanisms underlying this mysterious phenomenon. Attention and distraction. The unseen. Influence. While the internal workings of the brain are undoubtedly central to déjà vu, external factors and our own cognitive states can also play a significant role. One theory suggests that periods of distraction or divided attention might increase the likelihood of experiencing déjà vu. Imagine you're in a new environment, perhaps a bustling train station, and your attention is scattered. You're looking for your platform, checking your phone, and listening to announcements all at once. In such a scenario, your brain is processing a vast amount of information simultaneously, but perhaps not with full, focused attention on any single detail. It's possible that when you later focus on a specific element of that environment, say, a particular shop or a unique architectural feature, your brain has already subconsciously processed some of that information during your distracted phase. However, because it wasn't processed with full conscious attention, it wasn't fully registered as a new experience. When you then consciously observe it, your brain receives the input as novel, but there's a subconscious residue of prior processing that triggers the familiarity signal, leading to déjà vu. It's a bit like seeing something out of the corner of your eye, not consciously registering it, and then when you turn to look directly, it feels like you've already seen it. This highlights how our cognitive resources, attention, and the way we process information can subtly influence our perception of reality and create these intriguing subjective experiences. Memory consolidation and fragmented recall. The almost. Memory. Another fascinating perspective on déjà vu ties into the intricate process of memory consolidation and fragmented recall. When we experience something new, our brains work to consolidate that information into a coherent memory. This process involves various stages, from initial encoding to long-term storage. However, sometimes we might encounter a situation that shares striking similarities with a past experience, but not enough to trigger a full, conscious memory. For example, you might be visiting a new city and walk into a cafe that has a similar layout, color scheme, or even aroma to a cafe you visited years ago in a different city. Your brain might pick up on these fragmented similarities, the architectural style, the specific scent of coffee, the arrangement of tables, and activate partial memory traces. These partial activations are not strong enough to bring forth the entire previous memory into conscious recall, but they are sufficient to create a profound sense of familiarity. It's like your brain is accessing an almost memory, a collection of similar features that trigger the feeling of "I've been here before," without giving you the specific details of the actual past event. This theory suggests that déjà vu isn't necessarily a misfiring, but rather a subtle and powerful demonstration of how our brains constantly try to make connections and recognize patterns, even when those connections are based on incomplete or fragmented information, leading to the eerie sensation of reliving a moment. The brain's error detection system, a moment of self-correction. Intriguing research suggests that déjà vu might not just be a memory glitch, but rather a sign of our brain's highly sophisticated error detection system at work. Instead of being solely a malfunction, some scientists propose that déjà vu is our brain actively recognizing and correcting a momentary anomaly in our perception or memory processing. When the brain registers a new experience as familiar, but without any actual prior memory to back it up, it creates a cognitive conflict. This conflict triggers an internal alarm, a signal that something isn't quite right. The feeling of déjà vu, then, is the conscious experience of this internal alarm, a momentary realization by the brain that it has made an error in its processing. It's the brain essentially saying, "Hold on, this feels familiar, but I know it's not. What's going on?" This perspective reframes déjà vu from a simple error into an active process of self-correction and metacognition, our brain's ability to think about its own thinking. It implies a higher level of cognitive function, where the brain is not merely making mistakes, but also actively monitoring and attempting to resolve those discrepancies. This error detection mechanism is vital for maintaining a coherent and accurate understanding of our reality, and déjà vu might be a fleeting, conscious glimpse into this continuous internal recalibration process. Fatigue and stress. The vulnerable brain. Our physical and mental states profoundly influence how our brains function, and it appears that factors like fatigue and stress can make us more susceptible to experiencing déjà vu. When we are tired, our cognitive abilities are naturally diminished. Our brains struggle to maintain optimal levels of attention, focus, and memory encoding. This can lead to increased instances of the memory misfires, or asynchronous processing, discussed earlier. Imagine trying to sort information when you're incredibly sleepy. Mistakes are more likely to happen. Similarly, high levels of stress can flood our brains with hormones like cortisol, which can interfere with the hippocampus and other memory-related structures. Chronic stress can impair memory formation and retrieval, potentially making the brain more prone to generating false familiarity signals. When our brains are overworked or under pressure, the intricate systems responsible for seamless perception and memory can become momentarily compromised. This doesn't mean déjà vu is a sign of a serious problem, but rather a benign symptom of a brain that might be momentarily overtaxed or under-rested. It highlights the importance of adequate sleep and stress management, not just for overall well-being, but also for the smooth and accurate functioning of our cognitive processes, including the avoidance of these intriguing yet disorienting perceptual quirks. The role of novelty, seeking patterns in the new while. Déjà vu is about the feeling of familiarity. Its occurrence is often paradoxically linked to novel environments and experiences. We tend to report déjà vu more frequently when we are in unfamiliar places or encountering new situations. Why is this? One theory suggests that in novel environments, our brains are working overtime to process a vast amount of new sensory information. We are actively seeking patterns, drawing comparisons, and trying to make sense of the unfamiliar. In this heightened state of sensory input and cognitive processing, the brain might be more prone to creating false positives of familiarity. It's as if the brain, desperate to find an anchor in the newness, latches onto any subtle similarity with past experiences, even if those similarities are superficial or fragmented. For example, seeing a specific type of architecture in a new city might trigger a vague resemblance to something you've seen in a movie or read in a book, and this partial match, combined with the intense processing of novelty, can spark the deja vu sensation. This phenomenon underscores the brain's relentless drive to categorize, connect, and predict, even in the face of complete novelty. Deja vu, in this context, can be seen as a fascinating byproduct of our brain's continuous effort to build a coherent and predictable model of the world around us. Conclusion: the everyday marvel of the mind, from memory misfires and asynchronous processing to the intricate dance of the rhinal cortex and our brain's vigilant error detection systems, the scientific journey into deja vu reveals a phenomenon far more complex and fascinating than simple superstition. What was once dismissed as a mystical occurrence is now understood as a powerful testament to the intricate workings of the human brain. It's a fleeting glimpse into the delicate balance of perception, memory, and consciousness that constantly shapes our reality. Deja vu reminds us that our brains are not infallible machines. They are dynamic, ever learning, and occasionally prone to these intriguing perceptual quirks. It's a common, harmless, and often bewildering experience that offers invaluable insights into how we perceive the world, how we store and retrieve memories, and how our brains constantly strive to make sense of the constant stream of information. So the next time you experience that uncanny feeling of, "I've been here before," don't be alarmed. Instead, marvel at the incredible complexity of your own mind. It's a moment where your brain, in its sophisticated effort to understand the world, briefly tricks itself, offering a profound and personal insight into the everyday marvels of human cognition. The mystery of deja vu continues to unfold, revealing more about the very essence of what it means to experience and remember.